So you know how when someone is really cracked at a video game, it just looks effortless? You start thinking to yourself, hey, this doesn't look so hard. I bet I could do that. That was the first mistake I made when I decided I wanted to get into Pokemon speedrunning. Now let's get things clear. I'm already a Pokemon speedrunner. Technically. But my goal is to complete a speedrun of Pokemon Sapphire, my favorite Pokemon game next to Emerald. But Pokemon speedruns have a pretty insane learning curve. And one of, if not the biggest learning curve, is this, the Mach Bike, capable of reaching speeds beyond anything else in Gen 3. Most who remember this bad boy remember using it to go over cracked floors in the Sky Pillar or up muddy slopes found throughout the game. Many probably remember running into walls with it. But in a Pokemon speedrun, this thing is your main mode of transportation. You basically have to ride the Mach Bike everywhere, avoiding trainers, going through caves, going through routes, all of that. And anytime you accidentally bump into a wall, that's time loss. On top of that, Pokemon Sapphire, along with all the Gen 3 games, runs at 60 FPS with no buffer system. So your inputs need to have surgical precision. It's because of this insane learning curve that I decided doing an any percent run would take way too long to learn. I needed to take things one step at a time, which is how I found softlock percent. It's a meme speedrun category where you try to softlock yourself by teleporting to Doofer Town without any Pokemon that have Surf and without Mr. Briny's ship at the dock. In order to do that, you need to get the 5th gym badge, so it's effectively half of an entire any percent run, which is perfect as a beginner. In the last video, I talked about how I had to use RNG manipulation to get the perfect Mudkip, which was difficult enough, but throwing Mach Bike into the mix makes this run even tougher, especially when I got to the hard part. The hard part is the longest stretch of Mach Bike movement in the run. It starts right after you get the 3rd gym badge from Watson and ends at Meteor Falls. You need to Mach Bike up to this rock, smash it, pray you don't get the 10% encounter rate, which would be time loss, swerve around these 2 trainers without them seeing you, bump into this tree before hitting the grass, use a repel and a super potion, swerve around this trainer down here, bike past the hiker on your right, dismount the bike and run so that the hiker turns right because spinner trainers can only hear you if you're running, not biking or walking. Get back on the bike to pass them from above, go through the fiery pass, pray that this trainer doesn't see you pass him from the left, get secret power, teach it to Marshtomp, battle cool trainer Brooke, use a repel, pass this guy, these twins, this girl, and this guy, buy a couple items at the mart, bike down the bridge, avoid this girl, pass this guy, ram into the wall to stop yourself, dismount, run to make the hiker look up, get back on your bike, avoid this other hiker, and finally get to Meteor Falls. During this split, you need to dodge a total of 12 trainers. If you catch the eye of any of them, not only is it a ridiculous amount of time loss, but you can lose so much PP that it screws up the strats for future battles, and it effectively kills your run. I knew that if I wanted to have a chance at speedrunning this game, I'd have to become an expert at this. So I started by dividing the split into 2 parts, before and after Cool Trainer Brooke. Before Cool Trainer Brooke, there's 5 trainers we have to dodge. The speedrunning community created a diagram of the exact tiles you need to bike on in order to avoid these first 2. And just getting this first part is difficult. It's pretty fun to practice actually, so if you want to try the split out yourself, I put a save file in the description. You gotta stick to the left tile on the gray path for as long as possible and swerve around this tree to line up perfectly with the Rock Smash rock. Next, you turn on these 2 boulders without bumping into them, go left until you hit this light colored grass patch, go past the lady camper while she's looking left, and here's the important part, immediately go 1 tile left once you pass her. There's this fucker who will see you if you don't make that crucial turn. This guy sucks. But it just gets even harder. You gotta turn left, hit this tree, open the menu, heal Marshtomp, use repel so you can safely pass through this tall grass, bike down past this lady instead of up, which actually resets the direction that this hiker is facing, meaning you can bike past him going up the stairs, turn right, get off the bike, run past him from above, which forces him to look right, get back on your bike, and go into the tunnel. For the record, this part is crazy hard, and I had to practice it for hours. This hiker is vigilant, man. He'll spot you super easily if you fuck up even a little bit. Fuck. Next, you go through the fiery pass, which is usually pretty easy, and then you bike through this grass and you pray you still have enough rappel steps to take you to safety. Then you go down, reload the spinner so that you could pass safely, and talk to this dude to get secret power and teach it to Marshtomp. Finally, we get to the cool trainer Brooke fight. Normally, this fight is hard. In fact, according to some, it's one of the top 3 hardest fights in the Sapphire run. However, because we taught Marshtomp Secret Power, which you wouldn't normally do in the any % run, it's significantly easier because we don't have to rely on Mudshot as much. By the way, whoever at Game Freak decided to make Mudshot a 95% accurate move, suck my fucking balls. Anyway, the fight here is pretty straightforward. Secret Power this Wingull, which is a guaranteed kill. Pray Mudshot KOs Roselia because it's about a 75% chance, and KO Numel with either Water Gun or Mudshot. The move you KO Numel with depends on how much PP you have for each move, but PP management is complicated enough to warrant a whole other video, so don't worry about that for now. Assuming you didn't get screwed by Roselia, you bike past CTB, that's what we in the speedrunning biz call Cool Trainer Brooke, because we're just so pressed for time we can't say the whole name out loud. You hit this wall next to the grass, use another rappel, and enter the second hardest mock bike movement in the split. This route is absolutely flooded with trainers around every corner, but the 3 that can actually kill your run are this youngster at the beginning, this cool trainer lady, and this second youngster. With proper movement, you can swerve around these guys and you'll find yourself in Fall Arbor Town. In Fall Arbor Town, you go on a massive shopping trip. Shopping in Pokemon speedruns is really important because if you fuck up the menuing, you're basically screwing yourself for the entire run. It's actually concerningly easy to accidentally kill your own run by not keeping a super close eye on the items in your inventory. Assuming you didn't spaghetti the shopping trip, it's now time for the hardest mock bike movement in the entire run. First, as soon as you exit the mart, you gotta use a super repel and heal Marshtomp to full if it took any damage during the fight. You go on the furthest right tile of the bridge and hop over the furthest right tile of this ledge in order to avoid this camper girl. You pass through the tall grass, go up this rock staircase, and maneuver around until you get to this trainer. This guy spins in a pretty reliable fashion in all 4 directions, so it's usually not too bad if you don't fuck up like I did. But right after him, there's this hiker. The optimal way to get past this hiker reliably is to bike until you get to this tile, hit the wall, dismount the bike, run down to make him turn towards you, get back on your bike, and head up these stairs before he has enough time to look left and catch you. It's apparently a 3-frame window movement to perform optimally, and it's one that I had to practice a lot.
Huh?
What? I'm still not even close to hitting it perfectly, but assuming you hit that, there's still this extra fuck you hiker just chilling here, but fortunately he's a lot easier to dodge. And assuming you dodge him, you successfully make it to Meteor Falls, where you're rewarded with a quick cutscene that lets you catch your breath after that nutty movement. I mentioned several times that these optional trainers can kill your run, and it's kind of an exaggeration, I'll admit, but the reason it's so bad to fight these extra trainers during this run isn't just about time loss. It also means it could fuck up your PP. Since you hardly ever use the Pokemon Centers in a speedrun, instead relying on items to heal you back up to full health, managing how many times you can use a certain move is super important. But that's a topic best saved for another day.